This is episode 88, and today we're talking about teamwork, partnership. Teamwork and partnership is very, very important, and we're going to talk about just the ways you can guarantee your business success, because in business, when you have multiple minds coming together for one common goal, you tend to be a little bit more successful than you are if you're on your own, generally speaking. So we're going to talk all about that and why teamwork and partnership is very, very important. So we're talking about that today in this video. Thanks. What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. As I mentioned, we're talking about teamwork and partnership, and the idea is generally speaking, the more people you have in a business, the more people you have working together on a common goal, the better off the business typically is. Because the idea is that when you start a business, oftentimes it'll be one person starting a business, and they may leave their job and start a business, which makes sense. They feel like, okay, I believe in myself. Instead of making money for someone else, let me make money for myself. And that is definitely the way to do it. Being an entrepreneur has been a tried and tested way in America, and many places in the world, to go from relatively nothing to making potentially millions and hundreds of millions, billions. You can look at the world, but there is a myth in business, and there's a myth of the lone genius. The myth of the lone genius, and that's very important to understand, because the idea is that we'll look at things like Elon Musk and we'll say he's so smart. The thing about it is Elon Musk has many team members. He has money from venture capitalists. He has advisors. He has board of directors. He has many people to help him. You look at Steve Jobs, and you're like, Steve Jobs is so smart, but you don't realize that Steve Jobs had many co-founders. He had a board of advisors, board of directors. He got fired from Apple by his board of directors. So it wasn't just him by himself. So the idea is that business is a team sport. So when you're thinking about starting a business, before you start, give yourself a strong look to see if I should get partners. Why? You should get partners. One, because you can be better funded. If it's one person putting all their money into it, they may be taking money from other places. But if if two people are putting money into the business, then you won't be as strapped. You got more minds. You have each other's resources, each other's connections coming together for a common enterprise to make it profitable. And it's very important. It cannot be understated, because the myth of the lone genius is a myth. There's no single genius out here. Look at Elon Musk with Tesla. He's a very smart guy. I'm not denying that. He's very smart. But the idea is that he's winning government contracts from the U.S. taxpayers. He's won without the American government, without American taxpayer. The reality is that there would be no SpaceX. That's just reality. Without the American taxpayer giving Elon Musk those energy credits, he just wouldn't be able to survive from an economic standpoint. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk more about, let's talk about some of the legal aspects of it. So when you're starting a business, one thing you want to focus on, you can have a partnership agreement. Well, I guess if you want to start a business, you have more people. One of the common legal entities is a multi-member LLC, the LLC. And if you're starting with a friend or a partner or whoever it is, you'll do a multi-member LLC. So you go to your Secretary of State's office. I say this a lot. I feel like if you've been watching my videos, I've done hundreds of over 100 videos, and this is episode 88 of this daily vlog. And the idea is that this is the idea. The idea is that if you multi-member LLC, Secretary of State's office, if you are in Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Georgia, whatever, Secretary, you can do LLC, and then you all will be members of the LLC. When it comes to LLC, there are no stockholders. It's considered membership interests. Now, if you're doing a C corporation, you have stockholders. And that's very important, because when you want to raise venture capital, when you want to raise money from individuals, one of the things they rate you on is the quality of your team. So if you go to a venture capitalist or venture capital fund and it's just you by yourself, that's a big X against you. It's not necessarily saying you won't be able to raise money, but it'll be very, very difficult. It's difficult already to raise money. But if you're by yourself and you don't have a team, because they rate you on your team, they rate you on your board of advisors. Who are the people that's helping make this thing real? Because I'm investing my money, I want to increase my chance of being successful. And the more people working on this common enterprise to make it successful, the better it is, the more less risky this enterprise is, and I can invest into it. So that's very important to understand that. So you have that, and you can have operating agreement if it's an LLC. You also, if you're partnering with other companies, you have a partnership agreement. I have an entire entrepreneurial entrepreneurial contract bundle. You go to globallaw.tv/store, and you can see the contract bundle. I have those for sale. There's many of the contracts you'll need when you're starting out in business. So, but that's very important. And it's important to know you just have to try. You know, if it doesn't work, you can end. You can have you can do a dissolution agreement. You can end the entity. You can also end the partnership dissolution agreement. It doesn't mean that if you start a partnership, if you go in business with someone, you're stuck there forever. It doesn't mean that. It just doesn't. I mean, you've seen many of the biggest companies in the world. I mean, they split, and then the other person go and start a business. Right there, you look at the idea of Reebok and Adidas. Reebok and Adidas, from my understanding, they were in-laws, they were relatives, and they had a disagreement, and one wanted to set up the other stores. So Reebok and Adidas have a very connected past, or maybe Puma, one of them. Reebok, Adidas, or Puma. I think it's one of those. But here it is right here. But they have a connected history together that individuals need to be mindful of that. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You know, I always say, it's always better to have potentially 10% of potentially millions than basically 100% of basically nothing. You know, I mean, I'm not saying it's nothing, but the idea is that, I mean, it's always better to have that. And then when it comes from a tax standpoint, which from a tax standpoint, if you're doing a LLC, it's a pass-through legal entity. So all the profits pass through to the owners. So from a tax law standpoint, you will fill out the Schedule K and the Schedule E. So you'll be filling out those schedules, Schedule K1 and Schedule K E. So you'll be filling out those forms, and it's very important. I mean, if you're looking to raise money, you have to have a team. I mean, if you're looking to start a business, I mean, the idea, I can't say it enough. I mean, the idea was the lone genius. It's not true. I mean, you look at Alibaba, Jack Ma. He didn't start. He was a leader, but he didn't necessarily start it by himself. I mean, Elon Musk is the leader, but he didn't start it by himself. I mean, and it goes on and on and on. So the idea is that if you're looking at best practices to be successful, those who don't study their paths are doomed to repeat it. So if you study success from a experimental purposes, study from a historical standpoint, you'll start seeing that, okay, most of the successful businesses, they didn't start a business by themselves. I mean, not saying that you can't be successful by yourself, but you increases your chances, and that's what business is about. Business is about minimizing risk, taking calculated risks in different entrepreneurial activities. So, but that's pretty much all I have. I mean, one book I would recommend individuals read. It's a book by Magic Johnson. I've read the book. I don't have it with me, unfortunately, but I read the book three different times. I think it's definitely an underrated business book. It's Magic Johnson. I think it's 32 Laws of to Success or something like that. His jersey number was 32, so he based it off that. And it's a very underrated book. And in the book, he talked about a study done by Marquette University, and it talked about individuals that started businesses. At least three founders did way better in that study than individuals that started by themselves. And it's natural for individuals to want to start a business by themselves, but they feel like I can do it best by myself, so let me just do it by myself. But the idea is that you probably can, but the idea is that you're just doing so much. Like, you're doing so much. You're the finance person, you're the legal person, you're the graphic designer, and then you're the actual technician of the book. You know, and I think that is just, it's very difficult. You know, another book I recommend read is the Entrepreneurial Myth, the E-Myth Revisited. I think those two books are really, really good books to read, and they'll just shape your mind for the entrepreneurial activities, and you start focusing more on business development. That's the key to it, because individuals are doing accounting, doing all these other things, but they're not really focused on developing business. And 2021, we have to be focused on developing business. How are we developing business? Are we networking with individuals? You know, are we out here meeting suppliers, meeting vendors? Are we focusing on marketing? Are we focusing on acquiring users, acquiring viewers? Are we focusing on how are we developing business to grow our business? But if you are doing it by yourself, you're doing everything by yourself. It just makes it more difficult. But entrepreneurship is the tried and tested way. Historically, has been successful, as well as having a job. There's nothing wrong with having a job. You know, you can definitely have a job and save your money in your 401k and your pension, and you can live a nice retirement. There's nothing wrong with that either. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But this video, we focus on partnership and creating a team and create a board of advisors. I'm here to help as much as I can. Just reach out to me, and I can see if I can help you out in any way I can. But that's all I have in this video. So I guess to recap what we talked about. We talked about just the different, from a legal standpoint, we talked about just how to create a business with just more than when you have other partners. We talked about the tax aspect of it. We talked about the partnership dissolution agreement. We talked about many things in this video. We talked about when you venture capital, you want to use a C corporation, and you'll be using stocks from that standpoint. But that's all I have. That's all I have in this video, and I hope you all have enjoyed this video. This is episode 88. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you all for watching this video. We're growing. We'll continue to grow, and we'll continue to get better and improve. And thanks.